It's been months of sleepless nights for the global community since the fight against the deadly coronavirus began. Lagos State, the epicenter of the virus in Nigeria, have remained consistent in strategy, working with relevant stakeholders across the country to curb the further spread of the pandemic. Welcome to Inside Lagos. I'm Adedoja Salam Adeniyi.
Ẹni tí ò dé kò yìn ẹkù kan. Àwa ni center of excellence. Ẹni ò dé kò yìn ẹkù kan. Àwa ni center of excellence. Mo ní pé bó o bá dé kò yìn ẹkù kan. Àwa ni center of excellence. Àwọn òyìnbó débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tá a jẹ́ ṣe. Àwa ni center of excellence. Haúsá débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tá a jẹ́ ṣe. Àwa ni center of excellence. Àwọn Ìgbò débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tá a jẹ́ ṣe. Àwa ni center of excellence. Gbogbo Yorùbá débẹ̀ wọ́n rí tí wọ́n mú lọ. Àwa ni center of excellence. Ẹni òde kò yìn ẹkù kan. Èkó ò ní bàjẹ́ lórí àwa. Àwa ni center of excellence. Ọ̀pọ̀ ò bá dé kò yìn ẹkù kan.
And is able to bounce back to level.
The commissioners converged on Alausa, but not the usual venue.
Is expected to.
The joint briefing by the ministry is connected to the eradication of coronavirus pandemic in the state.
As when necessary.
They have been working seamlessly to ensure that not only Lagos is COVID-19 free, but that the state remains economically viable after the pandemic.
The coming weeks, we are working assiduously to relook at the budget, to reorder it, to take into consideration the current challenges facing us. We need to do this to give us the best chance of stimulating the economy and ensuring that the response, the post-COVID response of the economy will be strong and will be enduring.
Keeping the environment safe is also crucial at the moment.
We have tasked our workforce with the Lagos Waste Management Authority to ensure proper cleaning, proper sanitation of streets, of highways, and through regular monitoring of the PSP, those who collect refuse in nooks and crannies of Lagos and so on. So they'll be collecting refuse regularly to ensure that we don't have backlogs anywhere in Lagos.
The lockdown that has been laid down both by the federal government and by the state government, going out in the communities, we notice that a lot of people are not following that lockdown rules. They are not staying in their homes. They are still moving around, So if you continue to move around in the community and you continue to spread COVID-19, then our work will be fruitless. All the efforts of this administration of Mr. Sanwo-Olu will be for nothing. So we are calling on meaningful negotiations. We are calling on both the formal and informal sector, from the grassroots to the elites, to please continue to respect the lockdown rules that have been laid down by both the federal government and the state government.
The number of deaths is low compared to the number of survivals worldwide. But how does Lagos handle dead bodies from the pandemic?
We have specialists in the Ministry of Health, in our Department of Environment, who are specially trained to manage and to prepare the bodies of people that are demised from COVID-19 in such a way that when we hand over these bodies to the families, that the family members are not at risk of being infected. Or if you wish, we have a crematorium at the mainland hospital in Yaba, and some families may choose or opt to have the remains of their loved ones cremated.
Meanwhile, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has charged residents that the state cannot relax the stay-at-home order.
First to the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, they said post-COVID-19, Lagos will be strong in terms of employment and food security. Can you shed more light on this? Employment in terms of what? And how are you going about the food security?
We are putting together a post-COVID-19 response and stimulation plan, refocus the budget, and in that refocusing we are going to be looking at enterprise. We are going to be looking at small and medium scale enterprises. We are going to be looking at outputs that have the capacity to generate employment quickly. And those are the things which will generate employment as soon as we have clarity in our space, clarity on the impact of COVID, and as soon as COVID begins to give us room to operate more actively. We'll be looking at sectors like agriculture, sectors like construction, sectors like things to empower knowledge, skills, and try and direct vocational impact to our people so that they can be useful to both themselves and to be useful to the society. We also said that our people should participate very actively in registering with LASRA. We also said they should also participate very actively in registering with the social net register. That will help us actually plan and know where our people are standing and how we intend to drive them back into employment. The Commissioner of Finance did talk about our involvement with our Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. We are going to be empowering them to intervene very directly in these particular sectors.
It has recently been confirmed in the US that COVID-19 can be transmitted through talking and breathing by some scientists. I would like to know if this is the time to compulsory face mask wearing in public places.
It's a question that is being debated heavily around the world. We've been doing extensive research on the topic, and I just want to elaborate 2 points. When you wear a mask, you're either wearing it for 2 reasons. Either you're trying to protect yourself or you're trying to protect people around you if you have the infection. The only way you can protect yourself is to wear what we call an N95 mask, which is a sealed mask. It filters the air before you breathe it, and in the filtration process, you will protect yourself from breathing in air that has the virus in it. If you wear anything else but an N95, and you will know the difference between an N95 and an ordinary mask, the N95 fits your face completely, and it does not allow air to pass through the sides. If you're wearing anything else but an N95, another name for it is FFP3, then you are not protecting yourself from the environment, but rather you are reducing people around you from becoming infected by your droplets that you produce when you talk, when you cough, or when you sneeze. The consensus right now is not clear whether the entire community should be wearing masks, but we're getting closer to a decision, and I believe that Mr. Governor will make an announcement on this in the next few days. The masks that the population or the community can wear will be locally made masks, but they themselves need to be made in a particular way. It's not just sewing a piece of fabric and elastic and putting it on your face. There is a bit of a science to making handmade masks, and we'd like to get that design accurate so that we can give you the correct design and the correct advice.
Ramadan is around the corner, and I want to know, you know that this is the time Muslims congregate more than before. So what measures are you putting to check them?
The Honorable Commissioner for Home Affairs is already in touch with our mosque and with our leaders of the Muslim leaders all over the state, engaging them, and I believe that they will be able to explain properly how they are going to congregate. But as long as we are still in this experiment and so on, a large congregation will not be allowed. I can take that, but I believe that through that consultation by the Honorable Commissioner for Home Affairs, they'll be able to come out specifically on how the prayer session will be handled. We have several major highways, between 20 and 24 of them in Lagos, major highways. and this will still have to be fully sanitized. I know some of the local governments have touched several of them and so on, but you still need to take them at a stretch. I can give you an example from Moshalashi to Ojokoro alone. That's a very long stretch. You can also pick from Jibowu to Ikorodu. That's a long stretch of an highway and so on, and that is a tax that must be taken seriously and so on, and several other areas. And as the fumigation exercise continues, I believe that as issues emerge, we will respond to them accordingly. Works are going on in several places in Lagos, road works, they are going on, and they will still continue because they are racing against time. We are already in the rainy season, and as the rain intensifies, we may have a problem of continuing most of those. That's why they have to accelerate those projects, and most of those projects are going well. And also, the dredging work by the drainage department of the Ministry of Environment has started. It started last weekend. They are covering several drainage channels across the state and so on, and work is already going on. As I'm speaking to you, works are already going on.
I want to know what method you're using to reach grassroots. Are you speaking with them in their language? Are you using town crying sort of to reach them?
It's actually a command structure. Let me just briefly familiarize you. There are about 3,900 CDAs in Lagos. In each ward, there is a minimum of 1 CDA. There can be 10 in a particular ward, but no ward has less than 1. Every ward has 1, and there are 377 wards. So if we have 3,900 CDAs, it means you can just extrapolate. It means there are so many CDAs per ward in Lagos. From these CDAs, the chairman and the secretary of the CDAs in that ward will come together to form CDC. That is Community Development Council, still at the ward level. Then, those CDC in that local government, there will be one single CDC that will oversee all of them. Then, from that CDC in the local government, they select about 11 of them to form the State Community Development Advisory Council, and that has a chairman. So to break it down for you, if I want to get across to all the CDAs in Lagos, I will just start by calling one man and pass the message.
I want to know what Lagos is losing daily to this COVID-19.
At this time, it might be a little bit premature to actually measure the true extent of the impact or the losses to the state. We are witnessing a twin shock. We're talking about the oil prices, decline, and also we're talking about the economic freeze that comes with COVID-19, because the distinguishing factor between what we are witnessing now and financial crisis, they are not the same at all. Businesses are not operating at full capacity, and what that means is that once the businesses are not operating at full capacity, they are not able to actually make the kind of profit or revenue that they would make, and that will inversely affect the revenue that government gets in taxes. The second thing is the huge expenditures that we make minute by minute, hour by hour, that have not been earlier envisaged. Even though the Commissioner for Health mentioned that we did plan or prepare for it, but we didn't know when exactly it will come. So in absolute terms, we are spending a lot into our response efforts in managing this particular pandemic that we never prepared for in monetary terms.
Now that the COVID-19 cases curve is flattening in Lagos, residents have been advised to maintain the social distancing and the stay-at-home order so as to completely get off the curve. It is a presidential visit of some sort. Led by the chairman, Boss Mustafa, the task force on COVID-19 is in Lagos, the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria. With Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the first stop was to inspect the 110-bed Mobolaji Johnson Arena Isolation Center, Onikon. The team expressed happiness at the facility set up by the Lagos State government to combat the COVID-19 pandemic.
Your Excellency.
Boss Mustafa said the Presidential Task Force is working hard to track contacts and reduce community transmission as the stay-at-home order is yielding results.
So far, I think Lagos State is doing a great job from what I've seen here. They are putting up a first-class and a world-class facility that will help us in the management of those that are infected with COVID-19. We need to maintain social distancing, we need to maintain personal hygiene, and we need to report anybody within the community that has shown symptoms of the infection so that as quickly as possible, the help that is desired can be extended to those persons.
Beyond efforts to curb the spread of the pandemic, the federal government is taking steps to distribute more relief materials as palliatives to the vulnerable at the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states.
He has already directed that 70,000 tons of what we have kept in our strategic grain reserve be released for the particular purpose of addressing as a palliative to the vulnerable, the poor of the poorest in our communities, and about 6,800 metric tons is dedicated to Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory.
The committee also made another stop at the infectious disease hospital in Yaba, where most of the COVID-19 patients in Nigeria are receiving treatment. They also visited Lagos State University Teaching Hospital and Cardiac and Renal Center in Bagada General Hospital Isolation Centers.
There are several other levels of things we're doing outside of the scene isolation centers. So we have other facilities that we also reserved in the event that we need to trigger the usage of those facilities. An example is, so when we have people coming from the land border and we needed to activate a facility at Badagry. So we have 2 facilities at Badagry, right? So when that happens, those facilities will go live, right? So we also have facilities in Epe, we have at Alimosho, we have in Lekki, we have in other places that are just waiting in the event that we need to activate and clear those facilities, especially for quarantine. If we need to just hold people for 14 days, we don't know their status, or just, we're not sure if it will manifest or not. So just to hold you down and see how you evolve, because it's not every case that you need to take to a red zone in the isolation center. You need to have what we call like a holding bay, and so those are the kind of facilities that we've also made available for them.
There are now more records of community spread of the coronavirus across the state, and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 says efforts have been intensified to curtail the spread.
Lagos remains the epicenter of COVID-19 in Nigeria. As the number of cases keep rising steadily, government is doing all to cushion the effect of lockdown in the state to curtail its spread. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umar Farouk, is in Lagos to hand over food items to the Commissioner for Agric on behalf of the state government. The handing over took place at the Nigeria Customs Service Office in Ikeja.
We are handing over to Lagos State Government some part of this food relief. We are handing over 6,000 bags of rice of 50 kg, and then 2 trucks of vegetable oil to the state government, to the government of Lagos State.
Receiving the items, Bolawon Lawal says this will further help the poor and the vulnerable in the state.
On behalf of the people of Lagos and the government of Lagos State, I want to receive 6,050 kg bags of rice and 2 trucks of vegetable oil from the presidency, from Mr. President, directly from the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, being represented by the political head, Ajia Umar Farouk. I want to also let us know that we are glad, we are delighted, and we will ensure judicious distribution. As we are all aware, we have started 13 days ago with the distribution of palliatives to Lagosians, the vulnerable people and communities that are in dire need. It is a social safety net for them, and with this contribution, this donation from the federal government, we believe we should be able to scale. It is important to also let us know 200,000 households of the vulnerable, but with this package, we will also scale. So on behalf of the good people of Lagos State, we want to thank President Muhammadu Buhari for this kind gesture.
The minister had visited Governor Sanwo-Olu at the State House Marina, where she laid out her ministry's responsibilities in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We also flagged off the trader money and market money intervention of the federal government. It's a program that has been in existence for quite some time, but Mr. President directed that we expand the intervention to also include other vulnerable groups, especially the market money and trader money. We have just done that before coming here.
For Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the food items goes into the strategic COVID-19 response, which is in its second phase.
We're aware that they have started intervention in other parts of the country even before they got in here. And like the minister had briefed me, they've started identifying from their database people that would enjoy intervention from their trader money and market money. That I think it's something that it's novel, and it's something that we need to encourage them, because it's really meant to encourage and affect market women and men at various levels. And this will go into our strategic COVID-19 emergency food response, which you all know the state government had started over a week ago, which has entered our second phase. And I'm sure what the federal government is also giving us now, once we look at the arrangement, it will also further go to a third phase. There's more than enough that we believe will continue to push down to our citizens. So if you don't get in phase 1, if you don't get in phase 2, you will get in phase 3. We'll continue to review the list to be sure that we're not given the same set of people every time. But I believe that with what we're also getting from the federal government, with what all of the private sector have also donated to the state government, we're more than equipped, and we have sufficient items to give out. It's just the logistics that we need to manage, which is one of the things we're doing behind scene. And please just help us express to people that patience is of essence, but we'll also make sure that timeliness too is also important, so that we'll continue to get these things out as soon as possible.
This visit is apt. One, the minister says it is in solidarity with the Lagos government that has more confirmed cases of COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria.
That's the package on today's edition of Inside Lagos. But before we go, we would like to say a big thank you to all our health workers in the front line, keeping us safe. To the sick, we say get well soon. To the healthy, please stay at home. Together, we can defeat the coronavirus in Lagos State and indeed Nigeria. Stay home and stay safe. I'm Adedoja Salam Adeni. See you next time. Bye-bye.